Hello, Kerbalcast team. This is Northstar 1989. I hope my voice is not a disappointment to you guys. I don't have the best audio quality here, so it's not exactly what it sounds like in real life. So I understand Nos was having difficulty with docking, and I thought I might be of help with that. Now, first of all, before I dive into this, I just want to quickly tell you guys there are many strategies to docking. A number of them are valid. So if what I tell you now doesn't line up with what you heard before, it's because it's different strategy. That doesn't mean that the other ones are valid or this one is necessarily better or worse. But in my subjective opinion, this one is simpler and therefore better. So just wanted to put that out there first of all. Now my basic strategy for docking always involves beginning by setting up a closest approach. I don't mess around with matching the orbital shapes or anything that. It doesn't matter. Really. All you need to do to begin with is get a closest approach within about 2 kilometers. If you can do that from suborbital trajectory, that'll work as long as you can match velocities quickly enough. Because the second step is always to match velocities at that initial closest approach. This won't be close enough for docking, but this will match your orbital shape, your orbital speed quite accurately, actually. You don't need to use the orbital map to match any of that if you just match velocities on that initial approach. So basically, you queue up an initial approach, get it within about 2 kilometers. If you don't understand how to do that, take a look at my email. I practice, interplanetary maneuvers and stuff like that a little more. If you can't even get an approach in the first place, then you've got issues. But you will start off by, properly being phased, like Nas was talking about, being in a lower orbit and behind, or a higher orbit and above. Getting initial approach. Getting it within about 2 kilometers. You get that by dragging prograde if you're below, retrograde if you're above. You should get an approach marker that appears on your orbital view. It probably won't be initially within 2 kilometers. It might be, 7 or 9. And then you make small adjustments to it. Prograde, retrograde, normal, anti-normal, radial, anti-radial. Until you get it to be within about 2 kilometers. Then you basically time warp till you're, 8, 6, 10 kilometers away, depending on how long you want to wait. Turn off time warp, and make sure that the vessel is targeted, switch to target view, and line up along your retrograde vector for your approach. So if you're in target view, it'll be the little yellow circle with an X through it when you're in target mode, remember. Then you wait till you get to about closest approach, whatever that was before. So if you already know your closest approach is supposed to be 2 kilometers, wait till you're getting close to 2 kilometers. And then start burning, facing the retrograde vector, facing along the retrograde vector on your target view, you will burn. And that will decrease your target speed indicator, which should be on the top of the nav ball. The little image I've sent along with you guys now has one of those open in orbital, view. It's a number there except for target. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. And that should decrease. Burn until that is very close to 0. Start decreasing your throttle as you get closer and closer to 0. You basically want to try and match velocities as closely as you can to 0 relative velocity, which is precisely the same speed. And then at that point, you're still too far away to dock, but you can do one of 2 things to get closer. Either you can point directly towards your target, burn a tiny amount, and then watch which way your velocity vector relative to the target drifts off the target. So does it go above it, below it, to the left or the right? And then you want to curve your velocity back onto the target by burning on the opposite side of the target relative to your velocity vector. So if it drifts off to the left, burn a little bit to the right of the target. And that will ideally at least curve your velocity back on the target but most preferably you actually want it to be a little bit to the side that it will drift off of, so you want it to be a little right if you're drifting the left, so that it will slowly drift back on the target. And you want to perform a small burn, just 4 or 5 meters per second. And as you adjust it and may increase or decrease a little bit, you want to stay in a relatively small number like this. You don't want to make an 80 meter per second burn, because then you'll smash into your space station or whatever it is. So perform a small burn to approach a target, adjust as necessary to keep it on target. If it starts to become manageable, your adjustment burns increase in velocity, you get up to 20 meters a second or something. Turn around, burn retrograde to zero out your velocity again, and then do it again. Each time you should get a little closer and eventually get close to your target. That's one method. The other is to open up orbital view and use the indicators there on your approach to basically create maneuver nodes, and then you can take into account which way you're going to drift, and just drift. You can, if you do it well enough, with just one small maneuver, can get an approach within about 200 or 300 meters, which is what you need. Either way, you perform one or a few. NASA sometimes takes 6 or more of these little burns to get close to your target, till you're about within 300 or 400 meters. At that point, you'll be about 300 or 400 meters from your target, but you still have some relative velocity, maybe 10 or 20 meters a second. Turn around, burn retrograde again, zero out your velocity, and then you'll have no relative velocity, and you'll be within docking range of your target, and then it's up to you to dock. Now, a key thing here, and something I don't hear nearly enough, and this is what I particularly want you guys to realize, is the importance of zeroing out your velocity. That is, pointing along your retrograde target vector and burning until that target number equals 0. Many people try and go with using the orbital view to match orbital shape or anything like that. It's actually difficult to do that. It's much simpler just to match velocities by burning along your retrograde target vector. If you match velocities when you're in close proximity, your orbital shape will necessarily have to match your target. It will be slightly different because of the small difference of where you are, but if you're within 2 to 4 kilometers, matching velocity will almost always give you exactly the same orbital shape. It's much simpler that way, and so what you get is, as I said, an initial approach within about 2 to 4 kilometers, and you'll have a large velocity difference to get rid of there, maybe 80, 100 meters a second, and then a number of smaller adjustment burns. This is the same way NASA does it. They perform an initial approach, and they perform small burns to get close to a target. They don't actually attempt docking until they're very close to the target, usually. This is the same way you should do it. It's simpler, it's easier, it doesn't involve getting a little under the target, inching a little closer, like I heard Dark Mushroom saying. It's simple. Just get an initial approach that's close, and zero your velocity. Match velocities when you're close to the target. It's the same way MechJeb does it, if you've ever used that, and I highly recommend it. Now I'm going to cut this off here. I'll try and send you guys a video segment soon, so you can see what I'm talking about visually, if that helps, because everyone learns differently. Until next time, this is Northstar 1989. Fly bravely, and may you always have a star to guide by.